everyone, and welcome to True Words Aren't Beautiful. Here we are on December 24th, a beautiful Sunday morning, a cloudy Sunday morning, by the way, in Metro Manila. So, just a little update on me. A week ago, I came back from Mount Tirad over in Ilocos Sur, my first Philippine peak that I conquered. And I have to say, there were a lot of lessons I learned there, and a lot of things I've been reflecting on the past week. I mean, what I can say is that I forgot some absolutely necessary equipment that I should have had, such as a sleeping mat, because I slept on extremely hard and damp ground, forgetting that even if it's the tropics, it can get pretty damn cold in the mountains. Not to mention that some of my equipment, like my backpack, was inadequate. The weight distribution, if you see my backpack, which I'll see if I can get a photo of it sometime and post on the Ko-fi account, probably not ideal, especially when climbing mountains. And the difficulty level of Mount Tirad, or rather Tirad Pass, is 5 out of 9. Basically, that level just before major difficulties. Still, one of the most interesting insights I had was when we were doing our peak climb at 3 in the morning. I didn't bring a headlamp, so I was stumbling around in the dark. That's pretty dangerous. And if it weren't for the fact that the raffle the night before, I won a walking pole, well, I would have been pretty screwed. See, there's a metaphor there. I was relying on other people's light to guide me, whether they were ahead of me or behind me. I couldn't see anything. But at the same time, that walking stick really saved me because I was able to feel around. I mean, maybe I'm looking for some sort of metaphor here about feeling more than seeing, because your eyes can deceive you when what seems like stable ground can give way to you and you can fall. And that's exactly what happened. I nearly died 3 times. So, obviously I'm not dead, but at the same time, that soul journey in the dark, some of us don't have that light to guide us, that inner light. So I was relying on other people ahead of me to pave the way until they didn't want to wait for me anymore, and other people behind me, because those people were willing to help me out, knowing that I couldn't find my way around. I mean, how much more of a life metaphor is that? There are people who are willing to help, but they can only do so much. You still got to carry your own weight. And at the same time, don't be deceived by what you think you see, because there's more to what exists in the world than what you can perceive. So there's a mix of clarity with light, inner light, and the light around you. Because obviously when I didn't have a headlamp, once I was descending from Mount Tirad's peak, sun had risen, no use for a headlamp, but the walking stick to support me en route, very, very useful. And there's martial principles applicable there, particularly from my particular Chinese martial art, Xin Yi. In order to move, in order to strike, in order to make your opponent fly back, or as we call it, fajin, you have to root before you emit power, or force, however you want to call it. Likewise, using a walking stick as your third leg. Get your mind out of the gutter. I'm not talking about that third leg, the other third leg in the front. You need to use it like a tripod. You're supporting yourself and your weight. You're not allowing everything to be borne by your knees, your ankles, and your hips. I'm extremely glad I have my martial training and everything else, because that conditioning made that peak really, really really much more bearable. Had I not been fit, and I'd not been doing things like walking around instead of taking taxis or Grab cars, the equivalent of Uber here, I probably wouldn't have lasted. The mental conditioning, the physical exertion, and the lack of familiarity with the environment. It's a great challenge. Once I came back, regardless of view count on my channel, I've had a lot of people approaching me, asking me about the just do shit philosophy. Whether it's people I met while climbing, people I know who I haven't talked to in a while since I got back on social media, friends who follow my channel regularly. And one thing that stands out, that's very parallel to my own experience, the excitement of having done shit, having climbed that mountain. It's very easy to fall into the trap of not continuing to just do shit. You say, yeah, I did something. Yeah, that's good. Keep doing shit. It's not, I did shit. It's just do shit. It's a constant in your life. It's not something that you stop when you finish something. You keep moving. Again, Zen saying, when you reach the top of the mountain, keep climbing. And literally, that's what I'm doing. I reached the peak of one mountain. The next one will be Mount Mugong next weekend, right before the end of the year, followed by Mount Amayao. Give me a second. I lost my train of thought momentarily. The other thing is, when you get excited about just doing shit and the shit you're about to do, part of the just do shit philosophy is to be present. One of the things I've struggled with since coming back is both having just done shit and looking forward to the shit I'm going to do. Yeah, I climbed Mount Tirad, celebrating that on a high, but at the same time, I'm not being present. I struggle with making sure that I keep my eyes focused, keep myself dedicated to moving forward. Of course, we need moments to be still, but I'm not totally still when I'm looking back at my past accomplishment, and my mind, when not looking back, is looking forward at the next activity. If you can't be present, if you can't breathe and live in the now, then you can't really just do shit efficiently or effectively at all, because you're not totally committed to your act. I haven't played guitar all week. It's been a bit difficult to vlog because, of course, the anxieties are, what am I supposed to say? What am I supposed to do? But in spite of 5 days this week, not exercising at all, saying, oh, I gotta recover. Nope. Buddy, you gotta keep moving. You gotta just do shit. Because none of those climbs are gonna get any easier. And whether it's a metaphorical mountain or a literal mountain, you don't know what life is gonna prepare for you. And one thing they like to say in martial training and in the military, which my friends have told me about, is you never rise to the occasion. You sink to the level of your training. So it's that interface between just doing shit during the daily grind and when life suddenly throws something at you, or when you're preparing specifically for an activity, like in my case, these pilgrimages up these mountains and down others, unexpected encounters, applications of my esoteric knowledge. It's another life update there. I started presenting myself as a consulting metaphysicist, which I will update and post a link tree or something like that soon, so you can see some of my more esoteric services. Likewise, I also updated my professional profile to say that I'm an anything goes vlogger, because this channel, I'm not targeting any niche. all you're doing is seeing Johnny C. Whether it's my cooking, my guitar, life philosophy, some of my martial arts, this just do shit philosophy. Doesn't matter how popular I become, doesn't matter if it's just my friends who watch, and even if they skim through things. This is me. When I die, I have a time capsule of my growth for the people who care, who might miss me. It's been a little over a month since my desolate time. When I look back, one of the biggest markers of growth is to look back and say, God, what an idiot I was. Yet, when I look back now, I have a different view of myself, and that view is, it's not just me saying, well, that doesn't seem like me, seems like a different person. Instead, what I see and what I feel is, poor guy, I wish there was someone there for him to offer him help. So it's this weird confusion where I feel sorry for the individual who I see in old videos, and at the same time I say, is that really me? It was me, but I'm not him, if that makes sense. So, the other thing is, when I look back at myself, the past 3 years, past few Christmases, when I broke up with my ex-girlfriend Dana, and also Thanksgiving, by the way, I spent each of those holidays not being able to celebrate. 2021, I ordered Greek food alone with my dogs the day after she moved out. That Christmas, I moved to the province of Bohol. There was a super typhoon there. Some say it was Category 5, some say it was Category 4. All that matters is, the day after I arrived there to finish my martial arts training, we got hit by the typhoon, the house flooded, lots of things broke, and if it weren't for my Peace Corps training, I would have been screwed because a month of no electricity and no water was unpleasant. But I can say I felt pretty manly going to and from the well to collect water, to drink, and to bathe myself and to bathe my dogs. 2022, I moved to the slums back in Manila. That's a place where everyone just wanted me out. Lots of xenophobia and a lot of shock because I'd never lived in the slums proper alone. Previously, I lived in a similar area with my ex-girlfriend Dana, but she's a local and she speaks the language better and understands the culture and the norms. As an outsider, well, I dealt with things like people, like the contractor taking my kitchen knife, using it to cut up wood to repair my door, and thinking it's perfectly fine. People giving me shit for my dog peeing in the middle of the road. Public property, and saying the dog can't do that, even though the sign says just scoop your poop. But at the same time, the same neighbor and other kids are happy to climb over my gate in order to climb into the other gate, which is my landlord's property, steal their property, steal their chair rather, and use it to climb and collect mangoes from the mango tree. And I say, so you can cross over into my property and it's perfectly fine, but I can't walk my dog in the middle of the street. Right. Double standards, self-serving logic. The best kind of logic for anyone. So, I spent 2022, again, feeling suicidal but not acting on it compared to this year. Very alone, very lost. But it was the impetus I needed to really go into my multiple forms of therapy. Hypnotherapy, neuromuscular therapy, and art therapy, and conventional psychotherapy. Did it help this year? Oh, hell yes, it helped. Well, Christmas is tomorrow, and how I'll be spending it is in this place I've moved to, Pol Lachon, which is very artsy and yuppie, and on the other side is the red light district. Objectively, I'm in a better place in life, both physically, with my circumstances, and my mind, and my achievements. And here I am. If you've seen one of the earlier channels on this video, I'm about to enter the Legazpi Sunday Market. So anyway, I think that's enough for today. Thank you for watching. I will catch you on the next video after the next climb.